Julia Roberts starred in Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12, but she won her Oscar for her performance in Erin Brockovich. And that movie is based on the true story of a single mother who plays a key role in a legal battle with a major corporation. Errol Barnett is back now with our daily segment, The Rest of the Story.
That's right, Mike. In The Rest of the Story, we try and show you what's happened to real people since movies were made about their lives. And a lot has gone on in Erin Brockovich's life since the movie brought fame to her name.
He's going to make them pay $333 million.
It was an emotional and lucrative legal victory for the victims of the Hinckley, California water contamination case.
And he's going to make them give $5 million of that to your family.
That was the end of the movie. But what was the rest of the story? What happened to the real Erin Brockovich?
People still ask me, you know, has the movie sunk in? What does that feel like for you? And it's been pushing 8 years. I've digested quite a bit, but I'm not there yet. It's very overwhelming.
It's definitely between $50 and $400 million.
Well, how does it get divided?
Yeah, who gets what?
What the movie didn't tell you was that each of the Hinckley victims were awarded, on average, $300,000. But it still wasn't a Hollywood ending for many of them.
Most people don't know of the 634 original clients in Hinckley. About 50 of them have died. So the ending wasn't that happy.
It's hard to comprehend what these people were put through. It's terrifying, really, because you think, if this happened here, where else is it happening?
After settling the Hinckley case, Erin continued working closely with attorney Ed Masry, played by actor Albert Finney.
I don't know if we can pull this off. This is a monster case.
She's by far the best toxic investigative research that we've ever known.
The two teamed up again on several more environmental cases, including another involving Pacific Gas and Electric.
We settled that case last year for $335 million.
But some 2 years ago came an event that even Erin Brockovich couldn't overcome.
Ed passed away December 5th of 2005. I was with him when he died. I stood right at his bed until he took his last breath, and I felt like I'd been stabbed in my heart with a knife.
But Erin has moved on and even got married. And while she could relax and live the good life, Erin Brockovich remains committed to the same mission that inspired the movie.
This is what I do. This is who I am. And as long as I'm around, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Now, many movie fans consider director Martin Scorsese's 1990 crime classic Goodfellas as one of their favorite movies, but it's easy to forget that this was based on one man's true life story. For our daily segment, The Rest of the Story, we'll show you what happened to that man, Henry Hill, after the movie story ended.
Please, don't you move, I'll blow your brains out. It was the beginning of the end of his crime career when wise guy Henry Hill finally got pinched.
Henry's gonna be in a witness protection program. They're not gonna be able to get to him.
To save his own skin, Henry had to rat out his partners in crime.
See, the hardest thing for me was leaving the life. And we were treated like movie stars with muscle. We had it all just for the asking. And now it's all over.
So that was the end of the movie, but what was the rest of the story? Whatever happened to Henry Hill, the central character in Goodfellas?
I feel so detached from that lifestyle that it's amazing how I even lived that type of life.
After years in the witness protection program, where he fingered some 50 wise guys, Henry himself went to the slammer in 1987 for his role in a drug ring.
The judge gave me a 10-year sentence, and he suspended it, and he sent me to a 1-year drug rehabilitation program. And then I was out in society.
By the early 1990s, Henry was now straight, and thanks to the movie Goodfellas, he became a cult celebrity.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Which he parlayed into book deals, a restaurant, even his own brand of pasta sauce. And today, he's no longer a marked man.
I still look over my shoulder. I still, watch the entrance of every restaurant I go in to eat. But listen, I'm 65 years old. I don't fear for my life anymore.
Nowadays, Henry Hill lives quietly with his fiancée Lisa outside Los Angeles, where his passion is now painting.
It's just something that relaxes me and keeps me centered. People can buy my artwork on eBay.
As he reflects on his life of crime, Henry says he has deep regrets, but seems to have finally made peace with his notorious past.
I would never want to go back to that lifestyle. It's a horrific lifestyle. Today, I just try to do the right thing, and most of the time I do, but I'm not perfect, you know.
Oliver Stone won an Oscar for directing Born on the 4th of July. Now, that movie tells the inspiring story of Vietnam vet Ron Kovic. Daily Sam Rubin joins us now for an Independence Day rest of the story.
Now, Mike, Ron Kovic went from being paralyzed during a firefight in the Vietnam War to becoming one of the war's most outspoken critics. The movie Born on the 4th of July, which starred Tom Cruise as Kovic, is the story of his war experience. Now in our daily segment, The Rest of the Story, we'll show you what happened to the real Ron Kovic after the movie ended. From his devastating wound in Vietnam to becoming an outspoken anti-war critic.
I can't find the words to express how the leadership of this government sickens me.
Ron Kovic became one of the seminal figures of the turbulent 70s, culminating with his speech at the 1976 Democratic National Convention. That was the end of the movie, but what was the rest of the story? Whatever happened to Ron Kovic?
I just celebrated my 40th anniversary of having been wounded in Vietnam on January 20th, 1968. So I have been paralyzed from my mid-chest down for 40 years.
I gave 3/4 of my body in Vietnam.
Now in his 60s, Kovic hasn't slowed down much. He's still working as a social activist to improve benefits for veterans and trying to end the Iraq War.
I never imagined that I would be able to turn the tragedy of my life into a triumph.
But it has taken Kovic a long time to accept what happened that day in Vietnam.
I've come to give you your last rites. Are you ready?
Yes. In many ways, I think that my wounding may have been a blessing in disguise, may have given me the opportunity to reach millions of people with an inspirational message, with a message of peace.
Ron is also working on a sequel to his best-selling book, and a documentary of his life is in the works. Though he never married, he now has a serious girlfriend.
I feel like one of the luckiest people in the world. I feel very fortunate. I feel very grateful. This has been very difficult, but my life has been blessed.
As Ron reflects on his extraordinary journey from Vietnam to Hollywood, he credits his survival and success to one simple philosophy.
Never give up. Believe in your dreams, because dreams do come true.
In The Insider, Russell Crowe played a real-life research scientist for a tobacco company. That man risked everything by exposing his tobacco company's secrets on 60 Minutes. For our daily segment, The Rest of the Story, we found out what happened to the man who literally smoked out the tobacco companies. Here's Earl Barnett.
That's right, Mike. He really did risk everything. His name is Jeffrey Wigand, and here's what happened to him after he discovered that telling the truth can be hazardous to your career.
It was the story of the man who went on 60 Minutes and blew the whistle on the tobacco industry.
We are in the nicotine delivery business.
And that's what cigarettes are for.
Delivery device for nicotine.
But whatever happened to Jeffrey Wigand after his landmark battle?
The animosity between me and the tobacco industry has not abated one iota.
That's because even some 15 years later, Wigand continues his crusade against cigarettes.
I work with kids, I work with legislators, and then I work with governments, and it's all for the purpose of denormalizing tobacco, and I will continue doing that until my toes crawl up.
And people like myself and my family are left hung out to dry, used up, alone.
After his war with the tobacco industry chronicled in the movie, Wigand stayed in Louisville, Kentucky as a teacher, but his personal life hit hard times.
I had a very bitter divorce. I lost 3 of my kids. I was hated by half the people and loved by half the people.
Harassed and unwelcome, Wigand left Louisville and moved up to South Carolina. There he set up a non-profit organization called Smoke Free Kids. He's also continued to testify in lawsuits filed against the tobacco industry.
Someone put a bullet in my mailbox. What does it cost these people to do this to us? Nothing.
But Wigand still believes he's a marked man. In 1999, the day before The Insider's premiere, he claims he was almost killed after being sandwiched by 2 trucks.
They actually had to cut me out of my SUV. The lawyers think it was somebody who wanted to kill me.
Wigand moved again to a small town in Michigan where he's still trying to stamp out smoking.
I still have a lot of work to do. It's not regulated yet. It's a product in this country that kills 450,000 needlessly.
Who is this?
So after all he's been through, does Jeff Wigand have any regrets?
I know I did the right thing. I look back and I say I'm very fortunate.
Now, the movie Midnight Express came out 30 years ago, and it had a huge impact on audiences. It's based on the true story of an American tourist busted with drugs in Turkey and sent to prison. It's also the subject of the new daily segment, The Rest of the Story, where we look at what happens after the credits roll in these movies based on true stories.
His dramatic escape from a Turkish prison was the end of the movie. But what was the rest of the story after Midnight Express? What happened when Billy Hayes went from real life to reality?
Midnight Express has defined me. It's how I'm known. You know, people mention my name, they think Midnight Express, and I can't get away from it, even if I wanted to.
After nearly 5 years in a Turkish prison, Billy's triumphant return home in 1975 was big news that he parlayed into a best-selling book. And of course, the movie, written by Oliver Stone and directed by Alan Parker.
It was a huge international hit. It created an immense amount of controversy. The Turkish government protested it. Turkish tourism dropped something like 95% within that year because anybody who saw this film said, God, we'll never go to Turkey.
The Turks even issued an international arrest warrant for Hayes, making him a prisoner in his own country.
Where are you from, anyway?
Staying close to home, Billy gravitated to acting in soaps, theater, and movies.
Have you seen her? She's dead. Aren't we all? Eddie.
But through it all, the memories of prison have never entirely healed, nor has the rift with the Turks. However, in June 2007, Billy was invited to Istanbul to speak at an international conference on democracy. There, he also made a formal apology for the film's portrayal of the Turks.
I'm hoping that we've healed the breach. I don't want a whole country hating me. And in truth, I don't want the image of Turkey to have the world think that this is Turkey. Midnight Express is Turkey. Well, no, it's not.
3 decades removed from his stunning escape and the hit movie, 60-year-old Billy Hayes still has a unique appreciation for his freedom.
I literally lost everything. You know, when they take everything away from you, what's left? I learned things that were very valuable I wouldn't have learned if it hadn't been for that. So yeah, I think about it all the time.
It's a fascinating story. Midnight Express won 2 Oscars back in 1979, Best Music, Original Score, and Best Writing for Oliver Stone. The movie is also available on DVD.